What's up? Apparently we're starting. It's gonna be really small and intimate. So,
More questions.
yeah. I'm Erika Harlacher. I'm a voice actor in stuff, anime, games, and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to ask questions? If not, I'll talk about my life, which is pretty boring, but. First, we'll do questions. Do you have a question?
How was it voicing Kirigiri?
It was awesome voicing Kyoko Kirigiri in Danganronpa. She is really cool. When I was in high school, I did a lot of like mock trial, and so when I was recording for her, I drew on my trial past. And yeah, it was really fun. I hope that she's in another game at some point so I can read her again. But yeah, that's a crazy game.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So much death and murder.
Yeah, when I played the first game, Kyoko's like, a lot of her lines are like helping Makoto be like, hey, maybe this guy did it. So I felt like I kind of knew who did it each time, but we recorded so far before I actually played the game that I ended up forgetting a lot of them, so I was still pretty surprised as I played through. Yeah, and then for the second one, which I haven't played, I don't know really anything that happened in that one, so I'm excited for that one. Yeah. Should I talk about my life?
Yes, please. Some background.
All right. Oh, yes.
What made you want to do voice acting?
Well, I always really liked just being in front of people and like making them laugh. And when I was really young in kindergarten, I did my first like school play, and I was the big bad wolf in The Three Little Pigs, and I was great. I had to howl, stole the show, I think. I don't know, I don't really remember. But I imagined that I was great. And then so from then on, I was like, oh, acting's fun. But my mom used to be like, she worked at an agency when she was younger. And so she had already kind of been in the industry and decided that she didn't want that. So she was like, oh, acting's like a hobby, I think. So I was like, I was fine with that. I was like, okay, whatever. But I told her when I was 10, I was watching the show Kim Possible on Disney Channel. Yeah, which is like my favorite cartoon. And Christy Carlson Romano, who played Kim Possible, was being interviewed. And in the interview, she was like, yeah, it's great. I get to go to work in my pajamas. And I was like, I want to go to work in my pajamas. And so I told my mom walked in right at that moment, and I was like, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And she was like, what? And I was like, a voice actor. And she was like, that's not a real job. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I forgot about it for a while. But I still like acted and stuff through high school and like, and then in my first year of college, I went to Anime Expo in Los Angeles, and they were advertising the Adventures of Voice Acting workshops that Bang Zoom does with Tony Oliver. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember I, at one point in my life, thought that would be fun. I'll go there. And then I went, and Tony was like, oh, you have a talent for this. You should like switch to theater, and then also come back and do another workshop. And I was like, okay. So I switched to theater, and then did another workshop, and then I was hooked. And yeah, it kind of was like, I always wanted to, but I didn't realize that I like could do it as a job. So that's what happened.
Is it hard?
Sort of, but not hard like if I was like a construction worker. But like, it's hard in that there's a lot of rejection, and you have to like kind of have thick skin to realize that like, you know, a lot of times when you don't get a part, it's not because of you, it's because like, that's just not what they were looking for. It's not necessarily that you did anything wrong. But that's really hard to like understand, especially when you're first starting out. And also I like to look myself up on Google sometimes, which I've been warned not to do by so many people. And the first couple times I did it, I was like, I'm never gonna be like a good voice actor. People don't like me very much. But then I was like, but then other people do like me. So yeah, now I like looking myself up, and if people say bad things, I'm like, ha ha ha, it's funny. But yeah, I mean, that's the hardest part, I feel like. And then sometimes, I mean, my boyfriend makes fun of me because he says that I just I'm always like, oh, I had a really long session, 4 hours, and he's like, you just talked for 4 hours. Like, that's not hard. But it's kind of hard if you're like really high energy for 4 hours. Like, I don't sit down when I am in sessions. Some actors do, but I don't like, I feel like I don't have as much energy if I sit down. So you're standing the whole time, and you're like, I don't know. It's different than normal talking. So, yeah. All he does is draw for 4 hours. So, he's an animator. But, yeah. So, I mean, it's really, really fun. And it's worth it, I feel like. It's also hard because you have to constantly keep, like, improving yourself. I take classes whenever I can. And classes are, like, expensive, and they, you know, like, they take time and all that stuff. But in the end, I always feel like it really helped me, and then I want to keep getting better and better and better and better so I can be the best I can be. So, yes.
Are there any characters that you would like to voice in the future?
Yeah. I want to be someone in Kingdom Hearts really badly. I don't care about a specific character, I just want to be in the game. I want to be in one of the games. That's like my dream. I also want to be someone in Pokemon and in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have like specific characters, just those shows / franchises are things that I want to be in. Yeah, those are the main ones. I feel like. I also want to be like in like a Disney Channel show. Like I love anime so much and I love games, but I also want to be in like something like Gravity Falls.
Oh my god, that show.
Love Gravity Falls so much. So, yes.
I know that, I can't remember her name, the gal who plays Asuna in SAO is actually in Doc McStuffins.
Yeah.
My daughter watches it and I'm like, wait, I know that voice.
Yeah.
And then you Google it and you're like, why do you know?
Yeah, well actually most voice actors nowadays start in anime. And I don't know why that is. Anime is like kind of the hardest because you have to match lip flaps. So along with just like acting and all the other stuff that goes into voice acting, you also have to be aware of like the lip flaps and like what the Japanese did and like all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on at once. But most people start there, and then you go from anime and video games to like commercials to like American animation. So like Nickelodeon, Disney, stuff like that. That's generally the progression that people take.
How do you get into Disney or Nickelodeon?
You need to be union for a lot of it, and I'm not union yet. And most anime is not union, so I haven't really been in a hurry to become union because I love doing anime, and I've been getting a lot of non-union work, so I haven't really like needed to be union yet, but a lot of it's becoming more non-union just because that's the way the industry's going, so I'm kind of like hoping that like it'll just all eventually, I can do whatever.
So non-union is basically where it's live public television. Or
Non-union is just like, they don't have to adhere to union rules for like hours and pay and stuff. So like union's better for actors, and like I do want to be union someday. But yeah, I don't know, the industry's, because of like voices.com and voices123, which are like sites where you can just be at home and audition at home for like random stuff that they put up there and get paid. They don't pay as much as like a union company would, and so a lot of other companies are having to go non-union to like be competitive. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if like in the next few years like it'll be like mostly non-union or if it'll like sway back and like everything will go union again, and I don't really care. I'll go with the flow. But like, yeah, eventually I do want to be union, and that is definitely for Disney Channel. I know that, at least it used to be when I last heard, it was like union
best
stuff.
place to work.
Yeah, I know. Disney! I love it. So, I want to be there. Yeah. Any other questions?
surprised no one has asked this question, but can you say some lines that Ami Kawashima, nice Ami, would say?
Nice, Ami.
And, Togo.
Togo!
Yeah, your new
Yay,
character is
Togo,
really
my new character from Yuki Yuna as a Hero. I love Togo so much. She's one of my favorite characters that I've ever played. And she's really awesome. Okay, sorry, I had to gush about her because she's awesome and everyone should watch the show because it's great. It's like one of my favorite animes I've seen in a while. And it was like, I had no idea what it was when I got the audition. And then I watched it and was like, what? This is so cool. Okay, so Ami, nice Ami. Do you have anything specific you want me to say?
super duper cute. Do you remember that line?
I recorded like so long ago. You'll have to remind me. When did she say it? Okay, I'll say like, I remember when she's first introduced and she's like in the booth with them and she puts sugar in Takasu's coffee and she says something like, oh my god, did you not want sugar in your coffee? I'm such an airhead. Something like that. And then, yeah. Togo, has anyone heard me as Togo yet?
Not me.
Yeah, I think,
it's subtitled.
yeah, Volume 1 just came out recently. Yeah. I think Volume 1 was released in English, but like really recently. So I didn't expect anyone to have seen it yet. But Togo is, she's interesting. Togo speaks, she's kind of like this, and she's very techie, and she gets all their computer stuff done, but then she's also really into the government, and when she sings karaoke, everyone stands and salutes her, because they have to. Because, yeah. So yeah, I don't have any lines for her, though, because nobody's seen it yet. But yeah. I could do line.
However, love the mom from Kill la Kill. That one is great.
Do a line from Studio?
Yes.
Okay. Who wants some croquettes? Ryuko! You have to eat well if you're going to win the competition. Oh my god. Hey! Anyone else? Okay.
Okay, can you do a Kyoto Kirigiri voice?
Oh, Kirigiri. Alright, I haven't done her in a while. That's what she said. Makoto, you need to really think about these clues. Something like that. You're being stupid. I love you. I don't know. Yeah. Should we talk about my favorite game, Kingdom Hearts, while we wait for people to think of things? I'm wearing a Keyblade on my wrist because it's awesome. And yeah. And who's excited for Kingdom Hearts 3? Yay, me too! I'm so excited!
We just finished 2.5 remix.
2.5! Oh my gosh, I have a YouTube that I'm very bad at keeping up with, but I'm playing Birth by Sleep from 2.5 on it, and it's really fun. And I'm about to go to sad parts, I think, because I'm at the end of the Terrace story. I think sad things are going to happen.
Single tear.
The
Yeah.
feels.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be lots of feels, and it's going to be pretty depressing. But, yeah. Kingdom Hearts! Whee! I don't know. Luke, ask me a question. That's my boyfriend back there. Say hi.
Can you do some Sadira for us?
I don't... You're so mean. Sadira's my character from Killer Instinct, and she speaks Thai, but I don't speak Thai. So, I do remember one thing she said, which was, Aroy, which means delicious. And I only remember because that was the shortest line I had to say. Oh no, I remember what she says when she enters. Okay, she says, Yinditon grab suweb kong-chan. I don't know what it means. Something like, welcome to my web, or something like that. Yay, I spoke Thai. I was like really surprised when they cast me as that character because I'm really white. And when they had me go in for the audition, I went in and I recorded, and then I came out and I went to the production office and I was like, I don't speak Thai. And they were like, that's okay. Like, I'm sure you sounded fine. And I was like, oh, okay. I like laughed and then I left. And then they emailed me like a couple days later and were like, you got Sadira. And I just like cracked up. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to learn some Thai now. And then I like tried to learn some Thai over that next week before I went in so that I could sound legit. And then I immediately forgot it after I left. But for those couple hours, I knew some Thai. It was pretty exciting. I don't know what else to do in this. Yes, question.
All right, so when you first got into voice acting, you know, was it really a big change in your life? Like, did you have to change a lot of things, or like, did it really like involve most of your time? Because like, what I was gonna ask is, well, that's what I'm gonna ask. But like, what is the longest you've ever spent like on a role? Like, do you go, you know, do you rehearse it all the time and like, take up your entire life, or like?
Okay, well, I'll start with the first part of your question, which was, did I have to like change a lot in my life when I said I wanted to become a voice actor? And it did change like everything because I was in my first year of college and I had like no idea what I wanted to do. Up until my senior year of high school, from the time I was like 7, I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I was like, I'm going to be a veterinarian. My dad is a doctor and he would bring home like, he would get like pigs feet from the store and teach me how to like suture them up, and I was like super into being a veterinarian. And then in my junior year of high school, I was like, I'm going to take anatomy because it's like human anatomy, but it will probably help for like veterinary stuff. But then at the same time, I took an art class, and I realized that I liked the art class a lot more than I liked the anatomy class. And I was like, oh crap, I think what I actually want to do is like something with cartoons or video games and not be a veterinarian after all. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll like change my whole plan. So then I was like, okay, I want to do graphic design and I want to make video games. So for college, that was how I like based where I was going to apply to colleges based on their like graphic design program, and I was like, maybe I'll do like computer science too, so I can like code some video games and stuff. So I went to college and I started my first quarter and I really sucked at computer science. I was like, I did not have the patience for it. Like I could do it, but I got really bored after like 10 minutes. And those take like hours to code those things. And I was like, no, I don't like this. I liked graphic design, but again, I would get bored after like a couple hours, and I was like, oh, I really think I want to do something with video games and animation, but I don't think this is it. So then I took that class with Tony Oliver, and he was like, you should switch to theater. And I was like, oh, that's right. Theater's a major. I could do that. So once I decided I wanted to be a voice actor, I changed everything. I changed my major. I changed like what I like. At school before that, I was just kind of like floating around. But then after I changed to theater, I like spent all my time at the theater, in like shows and like working on scenes for class, and like I would practice voice acting stuff like on online sites, which online sites, that doesn't make sense. Just online. I did like radio plays and like amateur stuff like that just to try and like get into it. And I was like so much happier after I made that change. So I changed my whole life and I was like, I'm gonna be a voice actor now. So then, once you decide that you're gonna be any kind of actor, you really have to like throw yourself into it or else it's not gonna happen. You have to like really actively try and like better yourself. You have to take classes, you have to be aware that like, you know, it's not gonna have a ton of money all the time. You have to be ready for like rejection and like all that stuff. So that took me like a while to get used to, because I at first was just like, oh, this is just like something fun, and then I was like, no, it's gonna be a job. So once I decided it was gonna be a job, I got much more serious, and it got much more fun because I got better. So then I was like, I got an internship at Bang Zoom Entertainment in their production department, and they were like, hey, you're a theater major, do you want to be a voice actor? And I was like, yes, I do want to be a voice actor, thank you for noticing. And they were like, oh, okay, you can like sit in on sessions if you want to like see how it works and like stuff like that. And they were like super cool. and that was really, really helpful. If they hadn't have like been behind me, I don't think I would have, or I know I wouldn't have been where I am right now. So I'm very grateful to them. The casting director there is super nice, and she like taught me about the audition process. And like when I first got auditions, I think it was just like pity auditions because they were like, oh, you want to be a voice actor? That's cute. Here you go. But then eventually I started being like good, and then when they gave me auditions, they were like real auditions. And then I actually got cast in a game called Battleship, which was based on that movie with like, who was in it? Rihanna? Yeah, Rihanna from like a few years ago. There was a video game based on that movie. Don't know if you knew that. Little known fact. But I was basically the Navi of that game. So I was like the annoying person that told you what to do the whole time.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, exactly. I watched a YouTube video of someone playing it, and like 5 minutes in, they were like, God, this girl just won't shut up. I was like, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that was like my first thing that I really got. And then I was like, oh, I got cast in a real thing. I guess I could do this. And then I never looked back. Yeah. Did that answer your whole question? I feel like I might have gone on a tangent.
Part of that was when it comes to playing a role
Right. How long do I spend on a role? The longest I've probably spent with a character thus far is Ami from Toradora. And that was because it was NAS America's first anime dub, and they really wanted to make it really good. So they let us spend so much time on that show. Usually for a show, I spend, like for example, I just finished volume 2 of Yuki Yuna, and I probably did the whole volume in like 2 or 3 weeks. And I think there's like, what, 3 or 4 volumes of Yuki Yuna? I don't know. So, you know, altogether that's like 2 months maybe at the most. But for Toradora, we spent like a year. And that was great. We got to really spend time getting to know the characters, and like the director was like really he really wanted it to sound good, you could tell. And yeah, that's why I love Ami, because I got to spend so much time with her. But normally it's not like that. Normally I just get a couple months at most with a character. And from the time we get cast to the time we start recording is usually like a week or 2. So I don't even get that much time before we start recording, like knowing that I'm going to be the character. Yeah, it's usually pretty quick. And then that means that I am constantly switching up what I'm working on. So sometimes it can get scary because some months I have nothing. And then some months I have like a ton of things all at once, and I'm like, I don't have time. They all tend to line up at the same time, I've noticed, which is like good and bad. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy career, but it's fun. Yeah.
You definitely have to have a lot of patience for voice acting, especially if you have a family.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you said, in the beginning, you don't get a lot of money. No
Yeah.
one does. Is it a lot harder with children than it is just like doing your own stuff?
One of my friends has young kids, and in one way, it's really great that she does voice acting because she can do a lot of her work from home. So she has like a home studio, and then when her kids are like napping, she can like go in there and bust out some lines, some auditions, get back to some clients and stuff. And she was able to like move somewhere that was like better for her kids. She moved up to Washington, and it seems like she's been doing really well, and she really likes it. But on the other hand, it is harder because you can't be away from your kids a lot when they're young. I mean, you could, I guess, but like she doesn't want to, I don't think. And so it's harder for her to like go into studios to record. So I think like it depends on which jobs you're going for. And like you can't travel as much if you have kids, which like some voice actors travel a lot for like conventions and stuff, and some don't. So it just depends on like what you want to do. The good thing though is that you can't be in a session for more than 4 hours. That's the maximum amount of time they can have you there.
Wow.
I'm not sure why that is. Union, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, so like in that sense, you might only have 4-hour days, which is great, because then while your kids are at school, you go to 4 hours and then you're done.
Right.
So, I don't know, I feel like for me, I feel like in the future when I do have a family, it'll be cool, because I'll still be able to do this, whereas if I had a different kind of job, I might have to quit when I have kids, you know, and not do it anymore. But for voice acting, you can just kind of do it wherever, especially with the industry evolving the way it is. Like, a lot of stuff is done from home now. So as long as you have a home studio, like a decent microphone, then you can do a lot of stuff. You can do video games, commercials. So.
Being a young mom, I know my parents think it's not a very productive job. They don't think it's really a career, anything you can get out of in the near future.
I mean, it can of course be a career, but especially when you start out, for the first few years or more, probably won't make a lot of money, and definitely not steady money, unless you're super lucky and to just all of a sudden land this constant role in The Simpsons that lasts 26 years, and then you're set forever.
Or voice One Piece.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know. Most jobs, like I said, they only last a couple months, and then you gotta look for the next one. So as long as you have a second form of income when you start out, I feel like it's really fun, and if that's what you love and that's what you want to do it. But it is, it's not steady. So just know that.
Who is the voice actress who inspired, or actor that inspired you to do acting? So I know mine is Vic Mignogna and God, I can't remember his name. Oh God, he plays Roy Mustang.
Oh, Travis Willingham.
Yes.
Yeah. I love them. I used to watch panels with them before I was a voice actor on YouTube. I was kind of a nerd fangirl. But anyway, and then now it's weird because I work with them. But probably I would say Tony Oliver inspired me the most out of voice actor wise, because he's the first one I took class with, and he really he was really supportive, and he I remember after my second class with him, he shook my hand and he was like, come back, don't stop doing this because you have talent in this. And I remember that was just really oh, okay, if you say so, then I guess I'll believe you. And he was my first director I worked with on something. I worked when I was interning at Bang Zoom. I did incidentals for a couple shows, and one of them was K-On! And he was the director for K-On!, and he remembered me from his classes, and he was like, hey. And so he was really helpful, because I was nervous my first time in the booth, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, it's okay, everything's good, you're doing great. Yeah, and he's just been really supportive of me throughout my beginning of my career. He's a really nice guy. I love Tony. I highly recommend taking his classes for people just starting out. It's really a good way to see if you have an act for it, and he's very supportive and nice, and yeah, he's cool. He's definitely the one who inspired me. And then I guess Christy Carlson Romano, because she talked about going to work in her pajamas. So yes.
Was that fun voicing the role of K-On!?
Yes, yeah. K-On! Was, so I'm an anime fan, but I don't have time to watch a ton of anime. So when people are like, oh, you're an anime fan, have you seen this and this and this? I'm like, no. But I've seen these other ones. But K-On! Was one of the ones I had actually seen before. And so I went into Bang Zoom, and they were like, oh, we're recording K-On!, and I was like, what? I know what that is. I've watched some of that. Cool. So when I got to do an incidental for it, I was like, oh, this is so weird. And I remember the very first time I heard myself in something professional was for K-On!. And I went in, I was shredding papers, because I was an intern. And so I was on paper shredding duty. And so the studios are soundproof. So I went into one of the booths so that I wouldn't disturb anyone with my paper shredding. And it just so happened that they were mixing K-On! In that studio. And so the way the studio is set up is here's a room here where there's the director and engineer and everyone sits, and there's a divider of glass, and then this is the booth where the voice actor is. So I was in the booth, which wasn't being used, but here they were mixing K-On!. And I don't know if they knew this, but like the screen in the booth was on, so I could see what they were working on. And I wasn't really paying attention, you know, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, shred. And then all of a sudden I heard my voice and I was like, what? That was me. And I was like, oh my god, they're mixing me, I did a line. And it was like really cool. And I was really glad I was like alone in the booth and that no one could see me. So I was just like, oh, that was so cool, my voice came from that character up there. Ah! And then I took a long time shredding, I think, because I was just like, I want to keep watching. But yeah, K-On! Was like, it was super fun. And that was like the first time I experienced myself as like, something on screen. And yeah, that was a fun memory. I like that. Yes?
Is it weird hearing your voice in certain animes? Like watching it in English dub and then you hear your voice.
At first it was super weird. Like whenever I would hear myself in like that Battleship game, which was the first game I got, my boyfriend and I got it and we were playing, and I was like, this is weird. Because I was like really annoyed with myself in the game because she just like keeps being like, go do this, and I can't do it. So I was like yelling at myself, and it was weird. I was like, this is very like meta and strange. And then like the K-On! Thing was really weird. And for like a few shows after that, I think when I watched myself, I was like, this is so weird, that's like me. But now I'm kind of used to it, and I usually watch with like, I'm really hard on myself when I watch, 'cause I'm like, what could I have done better? I'm like, do I sound okay on this? I'm like always trying to like sneak peeks at it early so I can be like, hey, did I do okay? But yeah, I don't know, now I watch it and like I know a lot of my friends in it too, so it's kind of like just watching us that we did a project together, yay! Because we're all kind of, like that whole group of younger voice actors, we kind of hang out a lot. But yeah, I don't know, I think I'm just used to it. I think it's still like weird, I guess, if you think about it, but it's just how it is, so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah?
So, obviously Sailor Moon has a new English dub.
Sailor Moon.
The whole 5 seasons.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to dub Sailor Moon Crystal,
Yes.
which isn't even done
Probably.
yet. How would you feel about being in either Sailor Moon, the new Sailor Moon dub or Sailor Moon Crystal?
I would love to be in Sailor Moon! I have the original English theme song on my
It's
phone.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
when I was growing up.
Yeah, it was
We
so
were 5
good.
years old and we watched on VHS.
Yeah, I would love to be in Sailor
Cartoon
Moon.
Network.
That's another one I should have named when you said other characters you want to be. Sailor Moon. Yeah, I would totally want to be in that. That's just, it's classic. I love that they're like redoing it with like, you know, all their original names and like,
Yes.
yeah, it seems like it's been going pretty well, so I'm excited and I would love to be in it at some point, hopefully.
I know there is another anime that I was going to ask you, Diabolic Lovers, which is a reverse harem. So they're coming out with a second season in August, as much as I know, and there is supposed to be more girl characters.
Yes, more girls.
Do you ever want to be in a vampire anime?
Sure, I want to be in anything. I just like acting. So like whatever. You're like, do you want to be in this? I'm like, yes. As long as it's not like really, really, really gross. Or yeah,
So I guess anything aside Tokyo Ghoul.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen Tokyo Ghoul, but I've heard it's pretty icky.
It's pretty boring.
But yeah, like the level of grossness that I feel like makes me go like, "Wah!" is like the new Mortal Kombat, their finishers. Those are scary. But I probably still would have loved to be in Mortal Kombat because it's cool. But yeah, sure, I'd love to be in the diabolic thingy. Lovers.
It's a really good anime. It's just
I should check it out.
anime for girls.
I mean, I am a girl, so.
It is definitely not like something a man. I don't think a man could ever like handle it.
We're pretty tough, you know. Any more questions?
Jin Society.
Hi! Hi, Jen. Yeah. If you guys are here tomorrow, I'm gonna be selling things at my table. I was unprepared. I don't have them today, but I'll have them tomorrow.
How long are you here?
I know, I'm sorry.
I mean, how long?
Oh, how long am I gonna be here? Most of the time, I think. I might leave in like the evening.
What are you selling?
Like cards with my characters on them that I'll sign if you want. Yeah, I'm trying to get my boyfriend to do like sketches of my characters, but so far he is not interested. But
No.
so we'll see if I can rope him into that. But yeah, I'm also dueling at my table really badly. Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I feel you, I suck.
Yeah, I'm really bad. I was schooled pretty hard.
But
So
I could play the PSU version pretty good.
yes.
Yeah, I noticed you're like into the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. What is your thoughts about now there's I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's the Wii Schwartz. They made a card game out of Kill la Kill.
That's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But people have been having me sign those cards, so I kind of assumed, I guess. But that's awesome.
There's some crazy cards like there's one copy Marco.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I signed a lot of the Tsukio cards today. They're so cool. That's awesome to be like in a card game. I don't know. I feel like I can check that off my bucket list. Like, I was a character in a card game. Check. Yeah, it's great. Card games with everything, I think. 5 minutes? Okay, we have 5 minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Or should I just ramble
Ramble.
for 5 minutes? Yes.
On Kill la Kill, when it ends, it kind of leaves me wondering because when Ryoko's real mom kills herself, that they're no, I spoiled it.
I haven't seen this.
That there might be more fibers out in space that might be coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot
There's
of
this little star at the end of this
I
space.
think they left it open for maybe a sequel, and I think a lot of people would love a sequel. I know just as much as you do about that, but I mean, I'd be down for a sequel. So, yeah, second season. But yeah, spoilers.
How dare you?
Most of them finished it.
Just forget what you've heard today.
I heard nothing.
Maybe the ink depth's different because I only seen the 7th.
What is it? One of my friends just says that Kill la Kill is just like, have you seen, did you kill my father?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Riko's catchphrase.
Did you kill my father?
Don't lose your way. Yeah. That show's really fun. It's great. I'm glad it's on Cartoon Network. Watch it on Cartoon Network if you haven't been.
I have it on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
But it's probably not on there, so
Not yet.
I'll find it somewhere.
Eventually. Oh, is it on
I
Netflix?
was recently watching Sword Art Online 2.
It's going to Netflix.
Yes.
I have insider information. Yes.
Have you had a chance to watch the fan-made shorts of Kill la Kill? There's like 13 shorts and then there's 3 episodes of the bridge so far.
No, I haven't watched that.
And they're grand total maybe like about a minute each.
Oh, cool.
And the voice acting on it's fairly well. It's not exactly the same voices, but they did some funny things to it.
Did they try to mimic me?
They did a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I have to watch.
Yeah, there's also some other characters where they went and they had like a girl was that character. They had a guy do it.
Nice. All right, we're
But
gonna have to check it out.
It's really funny.
They
I'll
have,
have to check it out.
they have 3 episodes of Danganronpa Bridge. And
Oh,
Giri
yeah.
Giri is so thug, it's not even funny.
I feel like I almost watched that, but then something came up and I didn't. But I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's like so thug.
Moggy. That's what I was
Moggy.
thinking of. Which character are you in? Because I've watched The Labyrinth of Magic. I haven't watched Kingdom of Magic yet.
Yes. I play Dunya, Princess Dunya of Mustasim. She's in the last like 2 episodes of the first season and the first 2 episodes. Yeah.
I did not notice that at all.
Yeah, that's me, princess. But yeah, she was fun because she's crazy.
Very.
Yeah, and then her story's pretty sad at the beginning of the 2nd season, so yeah, that was fun. That was fun to
Are you in
play.
the 2nd season as well?
I reprise her in the first couple episodes, and then I play another girl with a pointy witch hat. I don't remember her name.
No way.
But yeah. they were like, okay, now you're gonna be this character, and I was like, okay.
I don't even notice. I really don't. You notice some voice actors. It's like, okay, you know that's their voice. With yours, it's like I don't notice at all.
I'm a chameleon.
Oh, I can point out Todd Abercorn anywhere.
Yeah, he's pretty distinct. He's pretty great.
Especially at Sergeant Brown.
Yeah.
So people like Todd or Lucy, you automatically notice them.
Yeah.
Their voice is so recognizable.
They have very distinct voices,
Yes.
for sure.
Especially if you watch I've watched anime since I was so young. Like even watching recent animes that are dubbed, I'm like, oh, that's them. That's them.
Yeah. I think that my time is up. So thank you guys for coming. Yay! Awesome. I'm gonna probably go get school to do Yu-Gi-Oh again. So
Does anyone
see you out there. Bye.
Does anyone have